and soon possibly even live streaming.
We are.
Guys, welcome. Happy Tuesday, Traction Tuesday. This is the session that ends it all. We're in the last 24 hours of the Land Profit Masterclass. This is session number 9. And I want to congratulate, all of you guys that have raised your hand and are ready to join us in this 12-month journey in coaching and are ready to become one of our case studies. One of the people that, comes and, a few months later is here inspiring, showing that they have made it, that they have done deals, that they have gotten an ROI on their coaching, that they're on their way to creating a bigger and better future for themselves and for their family. So for you guys, my absolute gratitude. We are ecstatic, thrilled to guide you on this journey. For those of you that have, that are still thinking about it, or that are, are determined to go out and trying this on your own and being solopreneurs and going through all the trial and error and all the mistakes, we figured that for both of those camps, we wanted to bring to you this session where regardless of whether you're coming with us or not, you have some mindset shifts, some millionaire mindset shifts that are going to help you really deal with, what is going to be coming at you. Life is always throwing curves at us all. There's also changes in the marketplace that are going to be happening. And so if you're going solo on it, we want you to at least have these with you. So welcome, everyone. I see.
But ideally, you don't want to go solo. Ideally, if you can manage it, then make sure you are enrolling in coaching. Heck, even if you have to tap into your 401k, you can borrow from your 401k. I mean, no, your 401k sits right now in the down market, in the stock market, and is doing absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, this probably gets eroded by inflation right now. So instead, why not use that money to actually build that life that you're waiting for? Because guess what happens? Otherwise, it just sits there and you have to wait until you're 65 years old to even tap into it. I mean, that is kind of, or 60 and a half technically, but what's the fun in that? I mean, for example, when Michelle and I started doing this business, our CPAs and things, our advisors always told us like, hey, you should put something in the 401k. And that never made sense to me. You know why? You should put something in your IRA. You should put something in those kind of things. You know why it never made sense to me? Because
I was 25 to begin with.
Michelle was 25 when we became millionaires. I'm a few years older. So when we started up, she was 27. I was 33 by the time we were millionaires. And why would I put a bunch of money into an IRA that then I can't touch until I'm 65? But our plan was, and we implemented that, was to become millionaires by age 33 and retire by age 33 or 27. So if you're 27 years old, you don't have a job anymore, you're making millions of dollars, you're or hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever your goal is, you're living the good life. Why would you want to put money into your 401k or IRA that now sits there that you can't do anything with? Because the reason why financial advisors tell you to do that is because they're treating you as if you're an employee, and then as an employee, you have to work for many, many years because you barely make ends meet, right? And you put some money into that, and then you retire when you're old. Well, what we went through this entire week is a plan for you to retire when you're like 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now.
18 months,
right?
18 months from whatever pace you're at. Yeah,
exactly. So at that point, do you want to have a bunch of money you can't touch? Or at that point, do you want to have a bunch of money that you actually can use, right? That you actually can use. Now, still at the same time, like if you're close to say 59 and a half or so to tap into those things, then there's some ways that you can use self-directed Roth IRAs to put deals in and take the money tax-free. So IRAs, Roth IRAs, things have a purpose in life. But if you're like in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and there's a bunch of money sitting in there that's just sitting there and you can't touch it, and that's why you're not coming on board for coaching, then you're doing yourself a disservice here, because you should be using some of that, or at least consider using some of that money, borrow it out there for educational purpose you can without a penalty, and then use that to catapult yourself forward financially.
Yeah.
Right. So that's just a thought. Just consider that, right? Yeah.
So guys, whether you're coming with us or not, mindset always comes before mechanics. And we're going to teach you, for all of you guys that are joining us in our 12-month coaching program, we're going to be, teaching all the mechanics, all the tactics, all the strategies that are working right now, but you're going to have work on mindset as well. So this is what today is all about. And I want to talk about the fact that, when making decisions, because today, enrolling in coaching is not going to be the only decision that you're going to make. You're going to have to make decisions on how much I'm going to offer, on this particular piece of land. How should I go about negotiating with the seller, with the buyer? And you're going to have your coach there supporting you along the way. But you're also going to have to make, on your own, sometimes decisions based on two things. And the very first, I think, a parameter that we use to make decisions is based on the possibility of gain. And that's one way to make decisions. And a second one is we're making decisions sometimes on, the possibility, the fear of loss. Yeah. And we want to make sure that you guys understand how important it is to always be making decisions based on the possibility of gain. For example, for some of you guys here, you've been thinking about coaching. You've been, watching every single of the sessions. You've been watching every single of the case studies inside of the Facebook group, or the students that have joined us here live, and you have seen that they have had results. So you have, your left brain should be satisfied. Your rational brain should be satisfied, but yet you're not in here yet. You're not one of the names that I have, called out and congratulate, for joining us. And that's because you're making decisions basically right now based on the possibility of fear, on the fear of loss, versus on that possibility of gain. The people that have shattered through ceilings, that have really had incredible breakthroughs inside of our program, and that are pretty much breaking generational curses for their family, are the people that, put a line in the sand and decided that they're going to do and hit what I like to call like an override on their fear, because they know rationally that they cannot lose if there's 12 months and say that, your kids are going back to school right now in August. You start sending mailings, and maybe in September something happens, and because they're back in school, they got sick, you're down for a week or two, come the end of September, you start making your offers. October is here, Halloween, and maybe preparations for Thanksgiving. You get a deal under contract, you start marketing that deal, and hopefully, by the beginning of December, or maybe even into early January, you have your first 15, 20, or 30, or $40,000 check. But it's not probably going to be just one. It's going to probably be more than that, because you have heard from all our case studies here that most people, within the first few weeks have a ton of deals under contract, and they have the amazing problems, champagne problems of now having to market and sell those deals. So you have that, your rational mind has seen that happen here. And the people that have gone before you, that have been on the other side, and have been on a masterclass just like you have looked at that as well and have said, okay, I'm putting an override on my fear. This absolutely makes sense. I'm going for this. And they have basically taken decisions and made decisions on that possibility of gain, and look at where they're at right now. So just imagine yourself, 4, 5, 6 months into the future, where could you be? And if you don't change anything right now, nothing will change. In 2022 will have come and gone exactly like 2021 was, and probably 2023. And aren't you sick and tired of showing up, for a job that you are no longer excited about, or, whatever commitment or coaching program that you might be in, or house flipping and
not seeing the results. Not seeing the results. Like when we still had jobs, we looked at ourselves and said, like, you know what? The paycheck doesn't match the effort that we put into this.
Yeah.
Our paycheck doesn't match the effort. We gave our all and everything, and we made a good salary, but we knew we were in it for more. That we knew there was more that we could take out of life, more that we could get out of life, more that we could contribute to life, right? And land flipping has given us that. But also to just add on to what Michelle said is like, actually the way to build $1 million is by, or the way to become a millionaire is by going for it, right?
Yeah.
It's by going for it. The way that people stop going, once they reach some success, you see a lot of people stagnating. And why? It's because they switch from attack mode to protection mode.
Yeah.
So you know what? Protection mode has its place.
Yeah.
Once you made $10 million, it's totally reasonable to go into the mode of building like
moat.
legal structures in a moat and things like that, and make sure that you protect those $10 million, because those $10 million are going to be your livelihood for the rest of the life, let's say, for the rest of your life. And you're going to live off that, and you're going to invest it smartly, conservatively, and things like that. But if you don't have those millions of dollars yet, then the way to get there is to go full out.
Yeah,
the way
all
to
in.
do that is to go all in. The way to do that is to put the chips in the table on the method that you have seen,
Yeah.
that gives you the possibility of having success. And after a week right now, I hope you have seen that this is the method that has given to countless people the success, the method that is more doable than other methods, a method that is less involved than other methods. There's of course still work involved, but there's less involved. A method that you can do from home, a method that you can do without actually having to buy the properties, without ever being stuck with a piece of land or with a property,
Yeah.
and a method that produces the same or better checks than the house flippers do. But the key is you gotta, if you're living in a state of fear, if you're living in a let me protect the pile of money that I have right now. Well, if that pile of money is whatever the number it is, let's say it's $50,000, $100,000, then that pile of money will never grow.
It'll
Right?
be cut
They'll
in half,
never
actually,
grow.
right?
As a matter of fact, inflation might cut it in half. Instead, why don't you learn how to get deals done that provide you three-figure annual ROIs? Why don't we, I talked about a deal earlier in the week, for example, a deal that we have done where we bought a piece of land for $4,500 all included, like $4,500 all included. Now it's a small lot in the town, an infill lot, and then we sold that lot for $64,000 with a $6,500 down payment. Now follow me on the math. We paid down $4,500 and we got $6,500 as a down payment. So therefore, we already had all our money back plus $2,000 in our pocket. And now they made payments of about $463 for the next 20 years. What that means is that basically 463 times 12 is 4,600 plus 9, $5,400, let's say, $5,500. So we're getting about $5,500 a year from that property based on an initial investment of $4,500. That is a 111% per year return on investment. You are worried about inflation. You're worried about your job. You're worried about what this world is going towards. This is the answer. Just don't be worried about them. If you hold on to your cash, inflation is going to cut it in half over the next few days, few years.
Yeah.
If you're instead going out and building the knowledge and doing deals like that, you can outpace inflation. Every single one of those deals massively outpace inflation at 100, in this case, 111% per year return on investment over 20 years. That's going to be over 2,000% return on your investment. Anyone cool with 2,000% return on your investment, guys? Give me a heck yes here. And we're in the last one. I actually should have worn my heck yes t-shirt, but give me a heck yes here if you want to have triple-digit returns. But instead, what everyone lives is that life of fear, that life of like, oh my God, shrinking back. Can I really do this? Should I do this? It's your itty bitty shitty committee between your ears talking. And what it's basically telling you is like, oh, you're not worthy. You're not thing. And you know what? Screw that, because probably that's the people around you telling that. At that point, perhaps I can tell you a quick story about, you probably have heard it, I heard it in church one time, is the story about the donkey that fell into the dry well. Do you know that story?
I do, because
You
I
do?
heard you say
Yeah, I
it
heard it before, but yeah, this is a story. So once upon a time, or well, anytime, there's a donkey that fell into a dry well. So the people go in there, and this is like in a country where they use donkeys to carry stuff and so on. So the people go in and look down there, and the donkey's yelling out there and screaming down there. And they're like, okay, what do we do? The well is dry. They tried to figure out to get the donkey out. They couldn't. So at some point of time, there's like, you know what? The donkey's gone. The donkey's just going to die. Probably broke his legs anyway. And they start taking earth and they start burying the donkey. There's
Filling up the well.
filling up the well and basically burying the donkey.
Yeah.
So they put a shovel of earth on the donkey. And the donkey like downstairs, like, what's happening here? Like, what are they doing? And he dawns on him that what they're doing is they're throwing dirt on him. They're trying to bury him alive. And he's like, what the heck? So, but now here's the donkey. The donkey's smart. Every time the dirt hits the donkey's back, the donkey just shakes it off and steps on top of the dirt. So more dirt comes. The donkey shakes it off and steps on it, shakes it off and steps on it, shakes it up and steps on it. And soon enough, the well is filled. The donkey looks outside. The donkey jumps out and say, see you later. And the donkey walks away. Now, what the heck does that have to do with land flipping? A whole lot. Because think about it, isn't that what we are? Isn't that what happens with the world to us? The world constantly throws dirt on you. You might have been bullied in school, high school, right? You might have been not promoted in your job. You might have been told that you're good for nothing. You might have been told that you're worthless. You might have been told that you can't accomplish something. You might have been made fun of. You might have think that's all the world throwing dirt at you. You're even sometimes the people throw dirt at you are the closest one to you, also called family in some cases, right? They tell you like, oh, come on, don't try this stuff. You failed in the past. Who do you think you are? Dirt on your back. You know, what do you think you're doing? You're spending all the money that we have here on something that has that's a pie in the sky dream, dirt on your back, right? But what you need to do, guys, you need to just basically shake it off and step up. Shake it off and step up. Say screw you to the world. Say show the world. The best revenge out there is actually success. The best revenge is out there showing the world that you have done it. Showing the world that you're not the person they stupidly told you are, because you are, we talked about the eagle story, you are an eagle. You are there to soar. You are there to succeed. And you're not there to just be told that you're good for nothing. And at the same time, and that this is like, look at stories like we brought in Mahalani, like she's homeschooling her kids, and somewhere over the time, I don't know if anyone was bullying her, telling her bad things, but we didn't talk about that. But somewhere along the time, she lost faith in herself.
Yeah.
Right. But when she saw this, she gained a little bit faith. And she took that extra step and she stepped into her power. And she said, you know what? Let me not let the world put dirt on my back. And she stepped up, and now she fell in love with herself. Now her teenage kids are interested in joining the business. Now she's the star of the show. We want you to be the star of your family. We want you to be the leader of your family. Actually, it's on you. You can't wait for the world to save you.
We are the ones we have been waiting for.
You are the ones that, yeah, exactly. You are the ones that you have been waiting for. You're waiting for somebody's sign. Like, let me give you another story. There's this big flood happening. A big hurricane comes in and the flood happening, and the person sits in the living room, and the water enters the room, and they're like sit on the couch. And they're like, dear God, please send me a sign, send me a way that I can be saved, send me a rescue. Well, they go up, and then soon enough the water goes higher and higher and higher. Then all of a sudden they hear out on the outside, they hear somebody say like, hey, everyone, we've got boats here, come outside. And he's like, no, I'm waiting for God to rescue me. Please, God, rescue me. And then soon enough, they jump on the roof because the water goes higher and higher. And up comes a big wooden log. And he's like, should I jump on that? It's like, no, God needs to rescue me. Next thing comes somebody with a boat. And it's like, take me. And it's like, no, I'm waiting for God to rescue me. Soon enough, the water's under, they're swimming, they're drowning, they're dying. They go to heaven. They go to the door, and there's God, and it says like, they're like all mad. It's like, God, why didn't you rescue me? It's like, dude, I sent you a bunch of boats. I sent you a log. I sent you all kinds of stuff. I sent you a helicopter that tried to pick you up. At some point of time, you got to take the next step, and you got to actually help yourself, right? Because I can do everything for you. You got to step into it. And that's where we are today, guys. That's where we are today. This ends today. I think the videos are coming down either today or tomorrow.
Tonight at midnight.
Tonight at midnight, the videos coming down from the Facebook group. Right, we have just a few spots available. You gotta help. If this is what you saw, this is the real deal, guys. This is the real deal. go into the Facebook group and click on the names of the people that we talk to and ask them the question if it's true or not, right? Blow up their direct messenger. They're happy to answer back to you. They're happy to respond and tell you what their experience was. We're not hiding from anyone. This is how it works. This is how it's going to be for you if you just take that sign of God that you found us, that you came in front of this, and you take that next step. And that next step is to take action.
Yeah, pretty much meeting God halfway, stretching to meeting him halfway. The second mindset shift that I wanted to talk about, so the first one was making decisions based on the possibility of gain versus the fear of loss. The second one that I wanted to talk to you guys about is about having unrealistic goals. I know that everyone talks about having realistic goals, but I think realistic goals are absolutely overrated. That's not how, BS. That's exactly it. Because that's not how you're going to achieve success. You're going to achieve success by imagining something bigger than what is right now, and not living on just what is right now in the present and in absolutes, but really stretching past your sandbox. Yeah. Stretching past your sandbox. The people that you've seen here incredibly succeed and blow through every, barrier and obstacle, and that have come here and that are part of our Land Profit Masters coaching program are people that have been unrealistic, regardless of whether they've been, coming from a household where there was divorce, where there was abuse, where there were drugs involved, where there were, some of them lived in foster homes before. I mean, look at Aaron Williams, one of our master coaches. He is the result of, the foster care system, and he didn't use, the fact that he didn't have his real mom and dad as an excuse for not going out there and making things happen. And so he set unrealistic goals for himself. The same for me. My father passed away when I was 9 months old. I was raised by a single mom. I come from a third world country. Do you think it's realistic for me to, to have achieved the things that I have achieved? No, it wasn't realistic. But why did I achieve them? Because I had unrealistic goals, and that's what I want you guys to have as well. Because realistic goals, those are just for people that want to feel good about themselves, about jumping over a hurdle that was on the floor to begin with. And I don't want that for you. I want you guys to go for unrealistic goals, because that's how you experience incredible success. You shatter ceilings, you break through ceilings, and that's what your family needs.
Yeah, just look at extreme cases like Elon Musk. Elon Musk, like, how dare he come to this country from South Africa, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
From South Africa, come to this country and start and think that he could start a rocket company. And basically, like, the United States hasn't sent anyone up to the moon since 1968. Let me change that. Let me create the world's best and fastest rocket company with reusable rockets, and send out and put a network of satellites all over the world and all over the space and all this kind of crazy ideas, right? How dare it? It's one person thinking that it's possible. Now, nobody says you need to become Elon Musk. Nobody says you need to become to do that. But you know what? It still was just one person. It still was just one person. I believe from a divorced parents family or so, and something like that, coming to this country basically with not a whole lot, and then starting this up. I read his story. The same thing with with really anything. You can be that first person that breaks through and becomes the first millionaire in your family, becomes the first college graduate in your family, becomes the first whatever you want it to be, the first. If you think about it, my grandparents were they were born and raised in a German community in Yugoslavia. Well, guess what? When the Russians came, they in the Second World War, they had to leave everything behind. My dad, my grandpa, my grandma, they probably don't even have a GED, right? They passed away already, but they never asked them. They probably didn't even have a GED. So they literally took their a hand carriage with 2 kids pregnant with my mom, took them and walked over from Yugoslavia for weeks over to Germany. And my mom was born somewhere on the trip over there. My dad's dad also died before he was even born. His mom died when he was 16-year-old. By age of 16, he was an orphan. And you think that is a great combination. And then they met when they were younger, got married, but guess what? My dad pushed through, and he became the first college graduate of this entire generation, of his entire extended family, and anyone else out there, cousins and so on, right? Then both my brother and I went to college because you know what? Because one person in our family, my dad, made the decision to not let his history affect him and push through, right? He played in bands, he learned an instrument, he learned the piano, he played in bands at night to finance his college, right? He did all this kind of stuff. And as a result, he became a teacher, right? And so you can do the same thing, right? We have this, like, what was her name? Teresa. She was a bartender for the last 30 years, right? In a bar somewhere in Florida, probably never making more than $2,000 a month. Well, she saw this and she did what she knew to do. She saw this was her opportunity. So she did whatever thing needed to do to get into coaching, raise money, borrow money, do whatever she needed to do, got into coaching. And in the first 6 months, she did 20 deals of like smaller deals, $4,000 each. And he made something like almost $80,000. Now, here's the thing. Why is this important? Because she has children. So when she, teenage boys. So before she was in coaching, every time she needed to go to she went to the grocery store, she had to choose, do I buy the quarter gallon, the half gallon, or was today a really good week and I can't afford the full gallon of milk for my boys? And you know what? The big breakthrough for her was that after she'd done a few deals, she went to the grocery store and she realized that she no longer has to think about whether or not she can buy either or. She can buy 2, 3, 4 gallons of milk and provide really the life for her kids that they never asked for, but that they would enjoy, that they now see their moms in one of the most formative years during high school, in the middle age, in the teenager age. They see her mom going from doing the exact same thing and doing late nights and not necessarily being there for them because she's working all the time, to all of a sudden being there, quitting her job, becoming a full-time land flipper, making 6 figures and multiple 6 figures. She became the role model. She became the hero of her children. She became the hero of her family. Do you want that? That's what we want you to be. We want you to be the hero of your family. We want your family to say like, oh my God, like 3 generations down the road, when your grandchildren are living a life of abundance, we want them to say like, how come we live this great life? What's our family story? It's like, you know what? Grandma or grandpa, back in the 2020s, they actually looked at something and they believed in a session. They attended some kind of a week-long weird Facebook and Zoom kind of thing.
They'll be like, what is Facebook?
They're probably like, what is Facebook and what is Zoom, right? But they're like, they attended some kind of a session. They saw this land flipping. They learned about it. They saw it was the real deal and they started at that. And because of that, it triggered all of these different things. Who wants that for yourself? Give us a heck yes, guys. Who wants that? Give me a heck yes if that's what you want, and then book your call because it's your last chance right now. All of this basically goes poof tonight.
The video still $1,000 off.
Yes, there's still $1,000 off. There's still the 2. There's still the 4 deep dive sessions about how to talk to buyers and sellers, how to build, how to do paid advertising, how to track what matters, and very important, the deep dive session on the county selection. There's still the 2 extra, I think 2 extra one-on-ones with your master coach. So you get extra ones that you don't get anymore. Also, this is the last time we're offering at this price. The prices will go up afterwards. The moment this is over, the moment this is all settled and so on, we will raise the price substantially because inflation is real, right? So and then also, what else is there? I think there might be 1 spot left for the 1 or 2 spots left for the 25 people that also get these 3 extra quick start sessions. So make sure you book your call right away because this is going away, and then prices will go up. And this is not a gimmick. Prices will go up, right? Yeah. All right. So good.
So number 3 mindset shift that I wanted you guys to walk away with, and that is to develop some mental toughness, be resolute on your goals, especially, when things get tough. I don't want you to just be excited, about what you're doing only when things are going your way. It's important sometimes for things not to go our way because that really sculpts our spirit. That really sculpts our character. Yeah. So important mental toughness and being resolute on your goals and not just having entrepreneurial ADD and scratching a goal at the slightest, sign of an obstacle. So very important. Otherwise, it's almost like you create a habit and you train yourself that at the smallest, obstacle, you shrink back again instead of continuing on a pattern of expansion.
Yeah.
So we don't want contraction here. We want expansion always. And that can only happen when you're resolute with your goals, when you have the mental toughness to overcome hurdles and basically expand that capacity. Right now, our capacity, might be just like one dot. We want to start expanding that capacity over bigger and bigger and bigger so that you can solve bigger and bigger problems. And you are a person at one point that no matter what comes your way, you feel completely bulletproof. You feel completely certain that you can figure things out because you can rest on the strength of having been tough in the past and resolute on your goals in the past and accomplishing them in the past,
And if you're not tough right now, then that is something you can learn.
Yeah.
And how do you learn it? By getting exposed to new things,
Yeah.
right? Like if you live in a little town and there's one traffic light, then when you go from that town to a town that is like 5 times as big and has a bunch of traffic lights, a little traffic, you get overwhelmed by traffic because you're not used to the complexities and you're not used to the different traffic and the cars driving faster. I remember when we used to live in Illinois, I had an assistant job at the university, so that paid for my tuition. Yeah. And I remember the secretary there's like, I never go to Chicago because I can't handle the traffic over there. Well, that was a little town with 10,000 people we were living in, where there's like 3 traffic lights and that's it. Well, guess what? As you make your way into land flipping, we will help you navigate the different roads. We will help you show you the map of the different roads, and we'll show you get more and more and more capacity of handling things. And over time, you'll be looking at the deal at the land deal, like by deal number 10, you look at the first land deal, it's like, how could I ever been scared of this first land deal? How could I ever been like overwhelmed by something like that? Because now it's easy breezy because you expand your capacity.
And if you are already a seasoned investor as well, you have success right now, but that success is based on the things that you have learned in the past. In order to upgrade basically and continue to engineer the next level of success for you guys, you're going to have to break through the ceiling of complexity that you have right now. And in order to do that, you're going to need scale. Yeah. So if you're a seasoned investor, this applies for you as well.
Coaching
Absolutely.
is perfectly, by the way, we alluded to it a few times, but you don't have to be brand new to want to get into coaching.
Yeah.
Like I remember Christina Walls, who's now one of our master coaches. She started with us having done already like 10 deals or so. She was doing like a deal a month or sometimes even a deal and a half or 2 deals a month. But she just could not figure out how to get to scale, right? If that is you, then coaching is perfect for you because you know what? We're going to put you with one of our coaches that do 50, 60, 100 deals a year. And that can literally show you with just a few tweaks. Like she talks about that within her first 3 coaching sessions, she literally blew up her business. Because what she didn't know is how to track things, how to treat this as a business. She was basically getting into this on her own, and she was basically become a hustler. So as a hustler, you hustle, you find a deal. It's like you hunt something, you bring it home, you eat it, and then once it's gone, you're like, crap, I'm hungry again. Let me go hunt something new, right? But that's not the way to create a business.
Yeah.
The way to create a business is to plan ahead, to put processes in place. Yeah. And those things that applies whether you're brand new or whether you're already doing 1 or 2 or 3 deals a month or a quarter. We can take you from walking already. What we call is if you're walking already and you're already doing some deals, we can get you from running. Also, if you're already running, we can get you to flying. Right. I even remember taking a couple of guys there's a partnership in Chicago. They were doing already something like 5 deals a month, and they wanted to go to something like 25 deals a month. And guess what? Boom, right there. Within a matter of a couple of months, they had learned everything they needed to learn to really blow this up and then continue to grow further. And as a result, they went into a 7-figure business. Right. Yeah. So absolutely, this is about mastery. So if you look at yourself and you say like, you know what, I'm doing well already, but I'm not yet a master, then check out and book a call on mattlandcoaching.com because this is for you too.
Yeah. So the next mindset shift that I wanted to talk about is about being emotionally invested. We talked in session 1 how important it is to find our why. That's how we connect and really make even, the act of money making through land investing or through whatever vehicle you use, a matter of the heart, is by connecting it to our why and not just being emotional. Because like Jack just mentioned, there is a science to land flipping. And if you do what we ask you to do, there's no way you're going to fail. Yeah, there's a science to this, but you're going to get through hurdles and you're going to get emotional. And what I'm saying is like, don't get emotional. Be emotionally invested, but not necessarily emotional.
Yeah.
The next mindset shift that I wanted to talk about, and I think it's something that is super, super important, and that is to really ask, you know, we are all going to fail. We're all going to make mistakes, but when we make mistakes, how fast do you bounce back? And I want you guys to always think as failure as accelerated learning. Yeah, that is, there's nothing else to it, but just you're learning at an accelerated pace when you get a hard knock. Yeah.
They say like, what is that? Newton was it Edison? Took him like over 10,000 attempts to invent the light bulb. So at some point of time, they're like, why do you keep trying? You failed for 10,000 times. It's like, no, I just found 10,000 ways to not build a light bulb. And then shortly after he built it. But again, the thing is, it's an attitude. So if you know in sales, if your average ratio is that you get one yes for every 20 no's, then you can look at that as like every no is like, oh my God, this sucks, and I gotta know. Or you can look at it, hey, every no gets me closer to a yes, right? Again, it's like learning and failing is part of it. Like the best baseball players in this world fail 6 or 7 out of 10 times. Yeah. If you have a 400 batting average, you are the king of kings in baseball, right? Yeah. There's very, very few people who ever hit that. What does a 400 batting average mean? That out of 1,000 times at bat, you missed 600 times and you hit it 400 times. And remember, guys, this is not a different thing. In baseball, actually, let's talk about some things. In baseball, when you hit a home run, the most you can get is 4 points. Is that right? Because if it's a grand slam, you have somebody in first, second, third base plus you, that's 4 people that go back. That's the most you can get. Guess what happens? This does not apply. People do use this in business language all the time. This is a grand slam. This is a 1-hitter. It's a 2-hitter. But you know what? It doesn't apply to business. Because in business, one right hit can make you $1 million in some cases, can make you 100 grand. And also, Mark Cuban, the owner of the Shark Tank and owner of the Dallas Mavericks, says like, you know what? He failed a bunch of times. He says like in business, in life, you only have to be right once. Yeah. Like, let me say it again. In business, you only have to, in life, in business, let me say, in business, you only have to be right once. What that means is that you might have failed 20 times already. So what? Yeah. You learned every single time. You're not starting from first base anymore. You're not starting from home base. Every time you failed, you learn more and you learn more. You already have a whole bunch of experience. But the key is if you use that experience to hit one more time and hit the ball the right way, the right direction and over the fence, you're done for life. Yeah. Like in business, one grand slam can make you $10 million. One right decision, getting into the right business, can take you from making ends meet,
exhausted professional,
from exhausted professional to absolute abundance for the rest of your life. That's the difference in business. In baseball, a grand slam 4 points is 4 points. In life, a grand slam, picking the right business, implementing it, picking the right team, getting the right accountability, that's a grand slam, and you're set for life. You only have to be right once in business. Remember that. So yeah. Another
thing that I wanted to add to this mindset shift is the fact that, you know, you want to look at yourself and look at your life. And when you failed in the past, you know, maybe, you know, that failure, you know, cost you a week. You dwelled in it for maybe a day, maybe for some of you months, maybe for some of you, you know, years, then you haven't recovered, and how important it is to basically collapse that comeback time, you know, and that comeback time, sometimes we need people around us, you know, surrounding us with support in order to reduce that. You know, right now, you know, Jack and I are in a situation where we continue to invest in coaches, but we've also trained ourselves to really, even as we're failing, already asking the questions, you know, what is the lesson in this, you know, as we're failing, we're learning it, you know, and sometimes, you know, in the past, it would take us, you know, a few days to get over the failure, or maybe sometimes a few weeks or a few months. So if you failed in the past and you're still dwelling on it, and it's been years, man, it's time to let that shit go and move forward and ask yourself, what's the lesson, and jump back on the horse. Yeah.
Like your parents were abusive to you. Yes. Okay. You're in an abusive relationship. Yes. Okay. Whatever it is, let that stuff go. Right?
Recovery rate.
If you're out of it, recover. It's in the past. Or use it as fuel to show them that you can succeed. Use it as fuel to propel yourself forward. Use it as fuel to say no longer, right? If you're in a situation that you like, if you're in a living situation, a life situation, a housing situation that you need to get out of, then use this as propeller to get out of it. Now, remember one of our students, she ended up selling her Hummel figure collection. She ended up borrowing money from a friend in order to make things happen. And guess what? Her net worth grew into the multi-million dollars over the next couple of years by making the right decision. So yeah, actually, I want to talk about something just quickly, and that is a mindset shift of like, why do you need to be wealthy? You owe it to the world to live your biggest, fullest, best life. Because here's the thing: do you have a charity that you care about? Right? Do you have a cause in this world that you care about? Do you have a family member that you know that if you would live your full life and you would make this happen, that you could actually help? Do you have a charity that you know that you could make a massive impact on? Do you have a cause that you know that you could make a massive income in? Like I just heard a kind of like initially sad, but then actually wonderful, not sad story of this person that's very wealthy, and his son decided to go join the army. All right, so they were about to deploy him over to Afghanistan or to Iraq or somewhere like that. And but for some reason, and I don't know the background of the story, I just heard it, so I'm retelling it because it made an impact on me. For some reason, the military came back and says, like, we are underfunded. We're underfunded, so we're sending our kids into Afghanistan or Iraq without proper protection and armor and things like that. So we're doing a fundraiser to help buy the right equipment. So this guy looks at his son and says like, well, or he looks at it, reads this and says like, you know what? I care. The biggest treasure in my life is my son. So I honor that he went to the military, but I want to make sure he's safe. So what he says, they needed $500,000. So they raised $50 from this family, $200 from the other family, $1,000 from the other family. And he's like, how much is missing? And it's like $490,000. He's like, there we go. He writes a check for $490,000. So he goes in, everything goes, they ship him off to Afghanistan or Iraq. A few months later, in the middle of the night, he gets a phone call. And he gets the phone call that no dad of a soldier or no mom, parents of a soldier ever wants to get. He's like, so, sir, this is Sergeant something. Is this the dad of so-and-so? And he's like, oh my God, what happened? My son died. It's like, no, your son did not die. But I want to tell you something. Your son was in an ambush. The car came into a street ambush. The car exploded and everything. But because of the donation you gave, the equipment that we put around the vehicle saved not just your son, but everyone in that vehicle. That's why you need to become wealthy. You can make an impact to so many different things. You can make an impact to your own family. You can make an impact to your church. You can make an impact in your community. You can make an impact wherever you want to make an impact in. You owe it to the freaking world to be able to be wealthy so you can help the world, right? Yeah. That's one of the key things that I wanted to also express to you guys. So who is ready to help the world? Who is ready to step into your own power? Because you have the power to help the world. You can dare to believe, like basically, what did he say? The outrageous belief or something, the unrealistic. You have what it takes to have the unrealistic goal and believe that you can be the savior of your family. You can be the hero of your community. You can be the hero of your church. And the church doesn't, it was people given anonymously too. It doesn't even matter about, it's not an ego thing. It's like, you know what they say? Money shows your character. Money doesn't destroy character. Mean people get more mean with more money. Nice people get nicer with more money. Giving people get more giving with more money. So I have a feeling that you are here because you share some of our values, that you're fundamentally a good person. Yeah. So therefore, I believe that when you make more money, you're going to do more good out there in the community. And we want more people that do good in this world.
Yeah, you generate wealth and you recirculate that wealth with others,
yeah.
You know?
Give us a heck yes on that. Who is in? Like, this is your last chance. We're about to finish up in the next couple of minutes. This is the last session of 9 days of spending with us. you checked out the entire system, checked through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, talked about all the different steps, how exactly it works, check all the different things, ask your land expert for a link to the replay page, binge consume the sessions today. They're going to get out of the Facebook group by tonight. And again, then this party is more or less over. So make sure you go full out today and book that call. That's it.
Thank you guys, and don't overthink it. You know, doubts are here and they win when they make us think that we're alone. You guys are not alone. We're here waiting for you, you know, to surround you with 360-degree support inside of our coaching program. And yeah, it has been a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege to guide you through this Land Profit Masterclass. I think this is a wrap for, you know, for August 2022, and super excited to welcome on board our incoming class right now for August. And you guys, I just want to leave you with my wish to you is that you have inflows of cash, of ease, of grace, and of absolute and complete overflow in your life. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.